The big back gets busted. That would be bad news for any team, but for LSU, that is back-breaking news potentially. Mark Rogers TV on the best offenses in college football. We look at the LSU Tigers. No, they are not on my list as a top offense, but we fulfill all requests, and we got one from P. Wilson. So we look at the LSU offense in 2013. Potentially today, a much different offense than it was just a couple days ago. Star running back Jeremy Hill has pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault and battery charges, and we have no idea at this point how the administration, the athletic department, and head coach Les Miles will respond. Google Jeremy Hill. There are outcries all over the place on the internet by columnists and beat writers of the LSU Tigers in college football to kick Hill off the football team. I would expect a 5 or 6 game suspension, but if LSU wants to discard that reputation as a football factory and football first institution, it may go the full route and kick Jeremy Hill out of the football program. But let's say he gets a 4, 5, 6 game suspension, something in that range, something that I anticipate. It's going to have a huge impact on this football team. This is always a run-first offense, certainly behind the offensive line, and usually a running back by committee. But the depth at running back is not what it typically is at LSU. Jeremy Hill was by far the best back on this football team. Look past the 755 yards rushing and the 12 touchdowns. He stepped it up and got the workload in a big way against the best teams mid-season and down the stretch. Alfred Blue left camp and went into the opener as the starter. He got off to a good start at just about 270 yards rushing, 6.8 average, and 2 touchdowns. You've got Kenny Hilliard coming back as well at 464, 5.7 yard per average carry, and 6 touchdowns. But it was, again, Jeremy Hill at 755 and 12 touchdowns, running the ball against the best defenses in the SEC and doing rather well with it. This is an LSU offense that, of course, survives on the ground game and the play-action pass. Consider this. Because of the defense and because of the ground game and the conservative play calling and the lack of a big play passing game, LSU's last 10 games, 8 of those were decided by less than a touchdown. 8 of the final 10, and that, of course, against the better teams on the schedule. So that's the running back situation. We look at the offensive line and we see 2 3-year starters are gone off that offensive line. And of course, this is the offensive line that means everything to this team in run blocking. And we replace that with some experience. You've got at left guard, you've got Josh Williford. At left tackle, Lael Collins. You've got Vidal Alexander. He's at the right tackle position. And at right guard, Trey Turner. You've got 20, 13, 10, and 7 starts out of those guys. You also have 2 of the top 10 offensive linemen in high school football recruited and signed by LSU in Andy Dodd and Ethan Posick. These 2 kids are ranked 6th and 10th at the guard position in the ESPNU 150. So they could get some playing time considering the lack of experience by the rest of the offensive line. So it could be a young, inexperienced offensive line at LSU, despite a lot of talent there. At the wide receiver position, not a lot of names to talk about here. There are 2 wide receivers definitely entrenched as the starters. You've got Jarvis Landry and you've got Odell Beckham Jr. Landry is the possession receiver and Beckham is the speed guy. Let's look at their numbers. Jarvis Landry, 56 for 573 and 5 touchdowns. 33 receptions in the last 5 games for LSU out of Jarvis Landry. He really stepped up against really the better teams on the schedule when you talk Alabama and Ole Miss and Arkansas, although the Hogs, of course, down, but it's certainly in the Chick-fil-A Bowl against Clemson. 33 catches in the last 5 games for Jarvis Landry. He caught 5 touchdowns as well. Odell Beckham Jr., more of the speed threat, as we mentioned, 43 catches, 713 yards. In the 3 and 4 positions, you've got Kadron Boone. You also have James Wright. Boone caught 26 for 348, and James Wright 18 for 242. You also have Quantavius Leslie, a junior college transfer. Of course, he's got playing time at that level, and he could step in and get some attention at wide receiver as well as 2 top recruits. These guys aren't elite high school players at the very top of the spectrum, but these are guys that certainly are well regarded when you talk about Ricky Jefferson and also Kevin Spears. Jefferson, the 28th rated wide receiver by ESPNU's 150, and Spears at 46 at wide receiver as well. At tight end, you've got little production in the passing game. These guys are blockers, talking about Travis Dixon and Nick Jacobs. Then we talk quarterback. All right, Zack Mettenberger came to LSU as a junior college transfer. He's got a big arm. He stands tall in the pocket. He delivers the football. He was expected to make big plays in the passing game, as LSU was going to not necessarily throw it more going into last season, but they were going to throw it downfield for points. Well, consider how many touchdowns Johnny Manziel and Aaron Murray and A.J. McCarron and some of Mettenberger's other SEC counterparts threw. We're talking 33, 43, 36 touchdown passes. Mettenberger threw 12 touchdown passes last season and 7 picks, 59% completion percentage. He did play his best game against the best defense in college football. Mettenberger, 24 of 35 against Alabama, 298, 1 touchdown, no picks. And he had that team in position to win the football game. And LSU made some questionable calls in the coaching standpoint. Les Miles again late in the Bama game, and Mettenberger and the Tigers came up short in that one. Offensive coordinator Cam Cameron comes in. He's got a big background with the Miami Dolphins, Indiana Hoosiers, and most notably and most recently with the Baltimore Ravens. Cam Cameron getting the job done with Joe Flacco. Let's see what he can do with one Zack Mettenberger. Backing up Mettenberger would be Ricky Bolden, the former Penn State quarterback who looked atrocious in his auditions with the Nittany Lions, and also Stephen Rivers. And also a dual threat quarterback, the 8th ranked quarterback coming in the high school class of 2013, Anthony Jennings for LSU. So that's the LSU offense. Keep in mind, they still will run the football, but the Jeremy Hill decision is going to be paramount to this football team, because we don't know if Blue and Hilliard can carry the load at the level that LSU is expected. This could be an 8-4 football team for LSU. That is a disaster. Would love to hear what you have to say about this LSU offense. They bring in 2 of the top 10 offensive guards out of high school football, 2 of the top 46 wide receivers, and a dual threat quarterback rated 8th in Anthony Jennings. Add that to the offensive line woes because of 2 big starters lost and some inexperience there. You get little out of the tight end position, and then you've got the Jeremy Hill fiasco, and you've got 2 wide receivers in Landry and Beckham who are not elite. They're very good wide receivers, but not at that elite level. LSU football, talk it up right here on Mark Rogers TV.